Hi, I'm Gerry Horak. Following the newspaper article that had accusations against me for inappropriate remarks, I've received just tremendous outpouring of support from family, friends, neighbors, and supporters. I'm gratified by that. I've also received many questions that people have about what occurred, what my side of the story is, or how I see things. And I'd like to take an opportunity now to answer some of those questions. Question 1, have you or do you make sexually inappropriate remarks to women? No, it's not my DNA, it's not what I do, it's not what I think. 2, have you or do you make demeaning remarks to women? No, that is never my intent. I don't make demeaning remarks to anyone. If I ever do any demeaning remarks, it's about myself with humor, self-deprecating humor. In the article, County Commissioner Kristen Stevens shares her recollections of 2011 Larimer County Democratic Annual Dinner at the Marriott. What do you recall about this event? I recall that it was before the election in 2011. I was running. Kristen was also running for a council seat. My wife, Connie, was with me. We were sitting at Ross Cadiff's table, who was running for mayor in that election. Which my wife always says, you always go around. So I always go around to the other tables because you're trying to interact with people, tell a story, get their support, whatever the particular thing is, to say hi to them, acknowledge they're there. And I know Kristen was there. I don't recall sitting next to her, but I'm sure we had some pleasantries between us. So that's what I recall about the event. Did you at this event, or any event, tell Kristen that her sleeveless dress was turning you on? No. I can say I never use the term turning you on, turning me on. It's not something I say. Again, it's not in my DNA. It's not the kind of language I use. In the article, Kristen shares her recollections of having run into you at City Hall on Election Day 2011. What do you recall about the situation? I recall Kristen coming in. I think she had her ballot. We exchanged something when she came back out after she deposited her ballot. I'm sure we said something, but it was just pleasantries as I can remember. Did you then, or have you ever told Kristen that you would like to see her change her clothes? No, I don't remember telling any woman that I would like to see her change her clothes. In another recollection from 10 years ago, Kristen recounts a dinner at CB and Potts with you, Kristen, and others. What do you recall about this event? Well, I recall very little, because I don't recall having dinner there. The only dinners I've had at CB and Potts was when the city, at the end of the council terms, every 2 years, they hold a dinner. And it's been at CB Potts, and that's the dinners I've been to then. So I've never been at a dinner that I remember. I've been at lunch at CB Potts. The other one is one of the reporters, when they asked me this question during the interview I had with them, they said this was after a caucus training. And well, I can say I've never been to a caucus training. So, and then the story changed in the paper that was published. It said no, people couldn't recall what happened, why they were there, but they did recall things about me. Did you, or have you ever told a woman that she has the best breasts in the Democratic Party? No. I haven't told any woman she has the best breast. Is Kristen Stevens lying about these events? That's something Kristen only knows, what's in her head. I just know what I recall, what I remember, and the comments that I remember that I made. I do say this though, if I've hurt Kristen or any woman in any way from my comments that weren't intended to do that, it's something I think about and want to certainly do differently in the future. In the article, Kristen is quoted, "These things come out during campaign because they're relevant then," end of quote. Her allegation is from 10 years ago in 2011. Since 2011, when have you stood for election? Well, I stood in April 2011 after some of these things occurred, and nothing came out then. I stood in 2015, nothing came out then. Did Kristen think these accusations were relevant in 2011 and 2015? Apparently not, because she never brought them up. How have you helped Kristen with her campaign while she served on city council? Well, in our most recent campaign for county commissioner, I gave money a couple times actually. I voted for her. My wife did too. We told friends and others to vote for her, that we thought she'd make a good county commissioner. When she was on city council, when she was running in 2015, I encouraged people to support her. I encouraged the chamber as well as other groups to support her. They chose not to. I was very disappointed by that, because I thought Kristen would be a balanced individual. She would be independent in her decision making. She'd try to look at the facts and make the best decisions for Collins, and she did that during her 4 years. It was just the opposite. I mean, I had a conversation with her in June of 2020, and it was about her primary and trying to win the general election and my mayor's run. And the question that I was asking her, what does she see, as I asked 60, 80 other people in Fort Collins, what issues are affecting the community, and what did she see as those? And actually in that conversation, she was saying how knowledgeable I was, and I'd be a good mayor. Tell us about your most recent conversation with Kristen Sivas. That was either late November, early December of last year, of 2020. I had called Kristen up, so the general election occurred. Jenny Arndt had announced. I was calling people up. I waited a few weeks to call people, called Kristen. It took her a week or two to get back to me. So she called me up. My wife was here too. And the conversation, she basically started off saying that she supports Jenny Arndt. Jenny's been a mentor, helper, whatever. And I said, okay, I understand that. And then she talked for a long while, and Connie could testify to that. And then she got to saying something to the effect of that if you run for mayor, things are come out about how you are with women. And I said, what does that mean? Could you tell me more? You know what it is. And I said, no, I don't know what it is. I'm trying to have you help me tell me what it is. And she then talked a long time, but nothing came out. And so what I got out of the conversation, it was clear. She threatened me that if I continued my campaign for mayor, which I announced in September, this is now late November, December, that she said she would not bring them up, but others would. It is reported in the article that you recalled that Kristen warned you that someone could go public with allegations. Is that what you told the Colorado? No, not at all. Actually, I know what I told the Colorado, because the Colorado asked me 5 follow-up questions to the interview. And one of them was dealing with that conversation. So here's what I wrote, and this is my statement to them. Regarding my phone conversation with Kristen, what I vividly recall is Kristen's threat. On that phone call, she said if I continued my campaign for mayor, claims that I have said inappropriate remarks would be made public. Kristen said she would not initiate this action, that others would. This appears to be one campaign promise that was kept. Who is Kristen supporting for mayor? She supports Jenny Arndt, and as she told me in last November that she was going to support Jenny, and she's on her endorsement page and is speaking for her and trying to help raise money for her. The article reports that Lisa Papa, with whom you served on city council, was uncomfortable on numerous occasions by your remarks. What do you recall about making Lisa uncomfortable? Well, I know I made Lisa uncomfortable. I made Lisa uncomfortable because she'd come to council meetings unprepared. She wouldn't have read the material. She hadn't read the material. And I know at times she would call up council members that she was aligned with for her philosophy and ask how to vote on items. She also, at times, has left with leave work sessions and council meetings around 10:30 when she thought the meeting should have ended by then, and just leave, which I also thought was inappropriate. Were remarks to Lisa ever sexually demeaning? No. No, I didn't make sexually demeaning remarks. If anyone made sexually demeaning remarks, Lisa had a mouth on her, and other council members will verify that. It is reported that Wade Troxell believes the city's respectful workplace policy was adopted because of concerns about you. Was the respectful workplace policy adopted because of concerns about you? No. And I have Darren Atterbury's statement to the Colorado, and he received questions too. He responded about the respectful work. Did the city's initiation of the respectful workplace policy in 2018 have anything to do with allegations about Gerry's conduct? Here's Darren's answer. Members of city staff learned about the benefits of establishing a policy of this sort through the Colorado Municipal League Conference sessions and discussions, and we realized that there was a gap that left the city without an established process to address concerns about the mayor and council members, members of boards and commissions, and the 3 council-appointed employees' behaviors. Council embraced the concept and spent several months working with legal and policy staff to develop and enact that policy was adopted in February 2019. So clearly, it was not because of me, it was because of what the staff learned, and it makes sense. Okay. Who is Wade supporting for mayor? He's supporting one of the other opponent, Molly Scold. Is there anyone not supporting another mayoral candidate who came out publicly with an accusation against you? No. No one else has said anything. Everyone else in the article was unnamed. The article says, quote, Horak denies most accusations, end quote. This implies you agree with one or more of the accusations that have been made against you. Which actual accusations do you admit to? I admit to making complimentary remarks to women about their dress or appearance. When you commented to women about their attire, what were your intentions? It was simply a compliment, nothing more than that. I grew up in an age where that was sort of expected by men, and women appreciated them or also expected them, but it meant nothing more. The article says witnesses interviewed for the story, quote, asked to remain unnamed out of concerns that these comments could bring harm to their careers or personal lives, end quote. What power or position do you hold to harm somebody's career or personal life? I don't really have any idea. I don't hold any power or position today. And even if I was elected mayor in the council has little effect on individuals' lives for their personal life or career. What we do is pass policy. The city manager then enacts the policy, and I just don't know what this is about. It's something that makes no sense to me. Have you been harmed by this article? Yeah, I've been harmed, but more, I'm very concerned for my wife, my family members, friends, neighbors, and especially the supporters on the campaign and the campaign team. These people have worked really hard, and it's really unfair to put them in this position. Some political wisdom says now is the time for you to go into the attack mode. Why aren't you attacking those who orchestrated this situation? Well, let me say there's part of me that sure wants to. Nothing would be better than to see others, under attack, but that's not me. One of the things Connie and I have talked about over the years and how it's got worse, especially on the national stage, and now it's coming down on the local stage, that too much time is spent going after the other person instead of just saying what you're for and how do you want to help people. So I've spent with my campaign team, our entire campaign, focused on the issues, focused on how to help people in Fort Collins work out of this pandemic into a better life. I don't want to spend any time talking about my opponents or attacking. What have you learned? Well, I've learned to be very thoughtful, to think before I speak more, to make sure that what I'm saying is something that needs to be said, that's something that is important and needs to be said, and to make sure, like I said, I think before I speak more than I have ever done before. I've also learned that it's a hard standard to always meet. People take things differently. You can say something to some person it's perfectly fine, to another not so much. I've learned that those remarks people can hold for 10 years, apparently, or more. And I would hope people, as we move the future, I will make sure I do it. People try to give a response if something I think is inappropriate. And everyone can learn more. The other thing I can learn is exactly what I was concerned about when we were having our discussion about that workplace behavior policy. That during the silly season, which I even said in my quotes that night, during the silly season, which is the election season, it's most likely for this type of information to come out. Finally, I just want to say, I just really want to thank my family, my friends, The neighbors have supported me, my campaign team, and especially the campaign team, because they have gone out of their way to help. They've worked long hours, great ideas. We stayed on message the whole time, which was to help people in Fort Collins, to try to deal with some of those issues that have happened because of the pandemic and its disastrous effect on families financially and on the economy. We've seen this campaign team, when I was under fire here the last week, stand tall. Each and every one of them didn't back away at all. If anything, some of them actually, I think, worked harder and was able to stand there, and that my wife has been supportive, my children have been supportive, and I really appreciate that, and I really look forward to the future.